Namaskar, I am Dr. Anshu Jindal from Jindal Hospital and I am an obstetrician, an IVF expert as well as a reproductive endocrinologist. We are going to talk about a very interesting concept today, obese versus lean PCOS and how to manage them. We all know that polycystic ovarian disease is a heterogeneous metabolic disorder which affects 10 to 15% of all women in the reproductive age group. The pathophysiology of polycystic ovarian disease is actually hyperinsulinemia and hyperandrogenemia. Whenever polycystic ovarian patient comes to our mind, it reminds us of a patient who is obese, hirsute, the so-called bearded female with the typical ultrasound appearance of polycystic ovaries. But all patients do not fit into this typical phenotype. There is another category of patients who are lean PCOS. Almost 1 in 3 of all polycystic ovarian patients are actually lean. Obese PCOS patients are more prone to having metabolic problems like impaired glucose tolerance. They develop type 2 diabetes earlier than their counterparts, atherosclerosis, as well as endometrial hyperplasia and endometrial cancers later in life. Whereas the lean PCOS are more prone to having menstrual problems, they have a higher LH-FSH ratio, and there is differences in the management of both these patients from the infertility point of view. So we have none other than Dr. Shweta Mittal Gupta to tell us more about lean versus obese PCOS patients and how to manage them. Dr. Shweta Mittal Gupta has over 17 years of experience in this field of ART. She's almost done 3,000 IVF procedures, oocyte aspirations as well as embryo transfers at Sir Gangaram Hospital, New Delhi. She holds expertise in doing both fertility promoting endoscopic surgeries as well as in teaching fellows and postgraduates. She has special interest in IVF, fertility promoting endoscopic surgeries and male infertility. She has lots of awards and honors to her credit and she's a good friend. So let's hear about this thing from her.
Hello friends, I am Dr. Shweta Mittal Gupta, Senior Consultant at the Center of IVF and Human Reproduction, Sir Gangaram Hospital. Today I would be discussing 5 secrets of obese polycystic ovarian syndrome women versus lean PCOS. We know that polycystic ovarian syndrome, also called PCOS, is one of the commonest causes of anovulatory infertility in women, affecting about 10 to 15% of women in the reproductive age group. And if we can recall that about 60% of women presenting with anovulatory infertility will be having PCOS. So what is the difference between obese versus lean PCOS? Because when we think of PCOS, we normally correlate it more with obesity. However, there are women who could be having absolutely normal BMI or could be even having low BMI and would be having PCOS phenotype. So the basic difference comes because of the varied clinical and biochemical manifestations which these women have. What is very important, strikingly important, is that both these women, whether obese or lean, have insulin resistance as the basic pathophysiology in them. But there are definitely certain manifestations which are more often seen in obese PCOS, like more incidence of menstrual abnormalities and more signs of hyperandrogenism. But surprisingly, both the women, whether they are lean or they are obese with PCOS phenotype, have the similar incidence of android obesity, and that indicates that they have more visceral fat, and possibly that is the reason that they have almost similar kind of clinical presentations. What was also seen was that they had a similar incidence of hypertension irrespective of their body mass index. But what obesity did in PCOS women, that it increased the incidence of altered oral glucose tolerance test as well as type 2 diabetes, and later in life they also had higher incidence of endometrial hyperplasia and higher incidence of endometrial cancer. Now let's talk about how do we manage these women. So if we are talking of obese PCOS, they have to be motivated to reduce weight, and lowering their BMI could tremendously help them in regularizing the menstrual cycles as well as in bringing about ovulation. What you do in lean PCOS? In lean PCOS women, we have to motivate them that keep maintaining the same weight, so they also need to be active and they should not be increasing their weight in future. However, both the subset of women would need ovulation induction, so which could be done with the help of either clomiphene or with letrozole or with the help of low dose gonadotropin. What about insulin sensitizers? Since insulin insensitivity, or what I call is insulin resistance, is equally present in both the groups of PCOS women, so insulin sensitizers would be helpful. In lean PCOS, they would be more helpful in regularizing the menstrual cycle as compared to obese PCOS. However, in obese PCOS, they will also help in weight reduction and to a certain extent in resumption of ovulation. So what is important is to understand that whether it is obese PCOS or lean PCOS, both the group will need lifestyle modification, both of them could be benefited with insulin sensitizers, and both the groups could be landing up with ovulation induction. Thank you.
Dr. Shweta, you have really spoken so well and you have clarified so many issues regarding both obese and lean PCOS. I would really agree that both these patients require ovulation induction, but there's a difference to their reaction to ovulation induction. It is the lean PCOS patients who tend to stimulate more than the obese PCOS. Hence, one has to be very careful in these lean PCOS patients in order to avoid the risk of OHSS. Another very interesting observation is that if at all we decide to do a polycystic ovarian drilling in these patients, it is the lean PCOS patients actually who benefit more from the surgery than the obese ones. So, if you like this channel, please click on the like button, subscribe to our channel Global ART Forum so that we can get you more such videos in the future. Thank you so much for watching.